Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lazarus expedition. My name is Neil, and I will be your dungeon master for this campaign. These are our players. To my left is PotatoMcWhiskey. To my right is Pokemon Challenges. Below and to the left is Greenzerg, and below and to the right is MrMouton. Hey, boys, how are we doing today?
Very good, Koibu. I'm excited.
We're all doing great.
We are all doing great.
Mm-hmm. I am pretty excited about this campaign. I have some pretty good feelings for it. What do you guys think? Is it going to be fun?
I'm excited to play 5th edition for the first time in a few years. We've been on 2nd edition for a while, so I'm excited to get some new classes out there and try some new stuff out.
Mm-hmm. Nick, are you
I'm
excited
to see 5e as well. This is my first time ever playing it, so
Yeah, I'm weirdly excited for playing 5e too. You know, it's been a while, and I don't know. I'm looking forward to more the sort of like the complexities in combat and the different options that maybe you don't always get in 2e. And also, I'm excited to be playing in a different time period than the one we've been used to for a very long time now.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Pokemon? PotatoMcWhiskey, you've played some 5e before.
I've played a little bit of 5e. I'm super excited. I've been like practically vibrating for the last 3 days waiting for this session because I've just been can't wait to play more D&D. Ever since we got fireballed on that boat, I've just been dying for another go.
Well, this group right here will be producing a whole series of D&D campaigns under the flagship branding of Save or Die, and this is just the first campaign. So before we hop into character creation, let me tell you a little bit about it. Our players all come from the Stormtide Kingdom, which for the past 25 years has been ruled by good King Arnold. He's a high cleric of Velmontarius, the god of justice, and he has reformed the kingdom. He's brought peace and prosperity. He's started holy crusades against evil dragons and warlords and necromancers, and for 45 years he's made the world a better place. Till he was laid low by a terrible and nefarious assassin. His greatest warrior, Lady Lazarus, a paladin of Verasi, the goddess of death and destruction, set out on a holy quest with her best warriors to find a scroll of resurrection to bring back good King Arnold so that he may again rule the world, or rule the Stormtide Kingdom. As our players and our heroes traveled across the seas in searching for this scroll, they finally found it after many months on the high seas and traveling on islands and fighting monsters and undergoing all sorts of adventures. And then they spotted Arcadia, the land where this scroll is rumored to be. Upon sighting the landmass, a storm hit their ship and it sank and everyone died. Our players are the survivors of the shipwreck, and they're like squires and cabin boys and like the priest who's on the ship just to like take care of things around the ship but like wasn't part of the main expedition. You know, the sort of the plebs of the expedition who have washed up on shore, and that's who you see here before us today. And that is the premise for our campaign. We are going to start with character creation. This is our character creation screen. If you open your player's handbooks or just Google 5e stat array, you will find the basic 5e stat array from which we can all make our characters. I'm going to set up some background music. I'm going to go let the cat in from outside because it's snowing and he's meowing. And it's time to start taking a look at what sort of characters you want to make. And I'll leave it to you to chat for just a moment.
So the standard array is going to be 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8?
Yeah,
That's right.
Is that correct?
I think so.
Koibu's
So
not
we
letting
can-
us roll this time because apparently 5th edition gets broken if you have 18s
Yes.
and whatnot.
He's scared about
And
good
conversely, if you have a really important stat that's like -1 or 2, it's rough.
rolls. So we can just
8 is a
basically
negative
put
one.
these wherever we want, yeah? And
Yeah, I think so.
can you repeat those numbers for me?
I'll
gonna
type them in
be
chat for you.
Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8.
all right, well, 15 wisdom.
Did we all say what we're playing? I'm going to be playing a fighter. Nick?
Yeah, well, I actually do have a couple of questions on that. So I'm going to be playing a paladin. So I probably want. Do I want my strength or my charisma to be bigger?
Oh, that's a great question. And that is going to really define your paladin. If your strength is higher, you'll be doing a lot more. You'll be better at like hand-to-hand combat. If your charisma is better, you'll. What keys off charisma? Is it spellcasting for paladins? Is charisma?
It's paladin spellcasting, yes. And there's a few.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of paladin-like abilities where it's like heal. 1d4 plus your charisma modifier. There's a lot of like that kind of stuff going on.
Right. So it depends. Do you want to be slightly more powerful in the magic or slightly more powerful in the melee and martial combat? It's also worth noting that at a stat of 14 or 15, your bonus is exactly the same. So at the very beginning, it won't matter. But as your stats go up, it might change things around a little bit.
That does beg the question. So in 5e, correct me if I'm wrong here, if you play a human, you can choose between taking a feat or gaining +1 in 2 different stats. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that what we're doing?
Yes, we will be using the variant human rules if you want to play a human. If you want to play another race, then you can pick any of the others, except for Dragonborn and Tieflings.
I'm going to be playing a human.
I will be playing a human.
I will also be playing a human.
So if you go variant human and get the +1 into abilities, that does mean you can get your +15 up to a plus like a 16. So to get the +3 rather than +2, yeah. So
yes,
that's probably what I'll do.
What's more important for a fighter in 5th edition, dexterity or constitution?
Do you want to do more damage and hit more frequently, or do you want to live longer?
I want to live longer.
Con.
Okay, I'm going to go 16 strength, 13 dex, 15 con. That's after the variant human +1s.
You want to write them in on the overlay so people can follow along with you?
Oh, I can... Oh.
Whoa.
I see. We have it.
Yeah, we have character sheets. I filled mine in. I just had
Yeah,
to
I'm
go
doing my
for
character
15
sheet right now.
strength. I want to be a strong boy.
16.
Int is most important for wizards, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm only going to be 8 int.
Wait, why you? Isn't it? How are we doing a 16? Isn't it? I don't see
Yeah.
a 16.
So what species do you want to play? Are you going to be a human, or you want to play one
Human,
of these other things? Okay. So as a human, you can either get +1 to all of your stats, or you can get +1 to 2 different stats, and then you can also take a feat, which we will have to look through the player's handbook for. It's sort of like it's like a tech tree thing where you can get some cool
Yeah,
benefits.
I'll take the feat.
Yeah, feats are fun. PotatoMcWhiskey, are you also playing a human?
I'm going to play a variant human, yes.
Excellent.
And I'll be taking a feat. And the feat I want to take is... Because my guy's trained knight, so I thought it'd be fun to take mounted combatant, if I'm allowed.
Yes. But
So-
we're starting in the wreckage of a ship, so I don't know how quickly or often you'll have a horse or a mount. I'm not saying it won't happen, but like we're not going to start with one.
Yeah, I'm fully aware of that. Like, I thought it'd be more interesting to design my character with his story in mind than rather like, okay, I'm on a beach and I have to like make my way out of here as quickly as
Perfect. I
possible.
love it. Love it.
And listen, if one of these guys is big enough, I just jump on their shoulders and I've got advantage.
It doesn't specify horse, does it? It just says
It
mount.
just says mount.
So I'm just looking through the feats in case there's anything that might be useful for me, but
I think a classic one is Warcaster for advantage against concentration checks if you're a cleric, because you might do a lot of buffing, and that if you get hit, it lets you roll with advantage on that con check.
yeah, that is good.
But would that fit with your character and who he is?
Well, he is in the army and he is a cleric, so
So, Neil,
Mm-hmm.
explain the wisdom stat, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously I feel like that's a pretty good one for wizards, right?
Yeah, wisdom is good for everybody. There's a lot of wisdom saving throws that you'll have to make, and it also keys into a lot of your skills.
But I feel like my character, we've talked about it a little bit. It's more of a little guy. He doesn't seem like the wisest of boys, you know. He seems a little bit green behind the ears, as we say in Germany.
We say that here too.
We say
Oh,
wet
really?
behind the ears,
Oh,
right?
wet.
Wet behind
Yeah.
the ears. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's green or he's wet behind the ears, but it translates well.
So I'm guessing it would probably not be in line with the character that I made to make this guy a 15 wisdom guy.
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, because I feel like I picked up on this, that like being a noble sometimes, like that's something that can increase your charisma on its own in a way. Is that a
I'd say that.
thing?
Well, if
Yeah.
you are well bred, you might come with a lot of charisma just from the training of aristocracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm gonna put 15 in Dex here, and then.
Oh, I see. I didn't realize I was supposed to paint on the picture. Oh, my bad. I was putting it into the character sheet.
Well, that too. It definitely needs to be in the character sheet.
Yeah.
No, whoops.
What is the tough feat? Your hit point maximum increases by an amount equal to twice your level, then +2 at each level.
Yeah, plus 2
So-
HP per level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm gonna go tough.
You're gonna be real tough then.
Be a tough fighter, yeah.
So it looks like MrMouton is putting +1 into strength and +1 into con.
Yep.
Pokemon Challenges is putting a +1 into Dex and Int.
Yes.
Green Zerg is doing 1 Dex or 1 point into either con or strength, whichever, and then 1 into Wisdom.
Yep.
And PotatoMcWhiskey, you're putting 1 into
I
strength.
will-
And
Let me write them real quick and you can.
yeah.
I remember a long time ago there was a way to like type in like a feat and then get it to
Come up
I
and
think I found
show
it.
you. Yeah.
Oh,
I think I found it.
I do have a sub to D&D Beyond and I have the Dungeon Master sub. So if you want to like look through the feats, I think I can link our accounts somehow.
Very nice. No, I think I got it.
yeah. In Roll20, there's a little circle with an eye over in the settings area. And within there, you can just like search for the feat that you're looking for, and it'll populate, and you should be able to drag and drop it to your character sheet.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sick.
Warcaster is actually better than I thought. It does more than just advantage on con saves. It says you can perform the somatic components of spells even when you have weapons or a shield in one or both hands. So does that, Neil, imply if you use a shield, you can't use somatic spell components?
Well, normally you need a free hand for somatic spell components and material spell components. Yes.
So I actually maybe need Warcaster to be able to function.
Yeah. If you're planning
Did
on,
I do the character sheet stats right?
let's see.
I feel like it changed a bunch of numbers, and I'm not sure if that.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
Cool. And where's the link to all the feats?
Let's do B5E feats. I will put a link in our Discord.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, I'm gonna have to edit my stats then.
Do we roll for HP at first level as well?
First
Or you
level,
just get 10?
we get max HP at first level, and then we will roll for our second level HP, since we're all starting at second level.
So technically I'd start at a 12.
You're a fighter, so you would start at 10
Plus
plus your
tough.
con plus your tough.
So 14 HP is what I'd start with.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to put that there for now, and then whenever we are ready, roll it up.
Alert seems good. I don't want to like pick the first one I see, but this one seems to fit my character.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of good ones in here. You're gonna want. There are some mild changes to these things. Let me know what feats you're taking, because I have a list of slight nerfs or buffs for them.
Was there a nerf or buff for tough?
I don't think so. I think that one is
Perfect.
super legit.
I'm going to be specking into athletics and persuasion.
Ooh, keen mind also. So yeah. The way I do this, I just always look for the ones that like fit my character the most. But
Yeah. Like alert, I've modified to just be +5. Gain a bonus to your initiative equal to 5 plus your proficiency bonus. We kind of cut down some of the alert things.
Yeah.
The athlete, we're doing climb is at half speed, but you have advantage on climbing checks. Actor, you can't mimic the speech of another person. Like you can't sound like MrMouton in particular, but you could sound like something other than yourself. Keen Mind has been pretty heavily changed. Shield Master's been modified. Warcaster has been... Oh, Warcaster, here we go. You can perform the somatic components of spells even when you have weapons or shields in one or both hands. Has been nerfed. So you can't... So you still need your spell components, right? You can't... If you have a shield and a sword at the same time, and you need to, like, grab a spell component, you're still going to need to drop a sword or something.
Yeah,
or sheathe the
you
weapon
can't just
somehow.
use your holy. You can't just use your amulet or whatever. Your focus.
Well,
I can't remember what it's called in
talk
5e.
about spell casting as a cleric, because spell casting in 5e is kind of fun and kind of interesting and kind of different. As a cleric, how do you cast your spells? Do you use an arcane, a divine focus? Do you use a holy symbol? Well, that's just around your neck, right? I think holy symbols are. You need to hold it in your hand. Kind of makes sense, right?
Why would you nerf that from Warcaster though? Given that in second edition
super strong, and in second edition it's always assumed that you have some way of grabbing your holy symbol and using it.
Oh well, if we can just hand wave it, then I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, the difference is in second edition you've got long casting time, so you can hook your mace onto your belt, grab your holy symbol, cast your spell, and grab your mace with lots of time because you've got a whole minute for a round. But in 5e, you've got like a 6-second round. So, if you're gonna be, what are the rules for dropping and grabbing gear? You can drop it to the ground for free. You can draw an item, a weapon, as part of an attack. You get 1 free item interaction per round. Is that right?
That is
drinking a
right, I
potion?
think.
Drinking a potion is not an item interaction.
Oh, you mean like opening a door?
Yeah.
It means like drawing a weapon or sheathing a weapon, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
No, Mr. Cat. No. Weapon, IV.
If you want to nerf it, nerf the last part, which says you can cast a spell as an attack of opportunity, which seems crazy.
It does seem crazy, but let me review my notes on this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can interact with one object or feature of the environment for free during your move or your action. For example, you could draw a weapon as part of the same action you use to attack. If you wanted to interact with a second object, you need to use your action. So sheathing a thing would be free, or drawing a thing would be free, but not both.
And given that I can't attack and cast a spell in the same round,
the only thing it would do is it would mean that for that round that you cast a spell, you wouldn't be able to make an attack of opportunity with your melee weapon if it came up.
but I could cast a spell instead as an attack.
Yes, because you can cast a spell as an attack of opportunity.
Do clerics get cantrips?
Yes.
Do they? Yeah. Okay.
They actually get pretty damn good cantrips, actually, from what I recall. Like some really cool ones you can take.
Maybe the +1 wisdom and
I'm
strength is
looking...
best. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm looking between spell sniper and elemental adept right now. I think both of those look pretty damn good.
Spell Sniper, and Elemental Adept.
Yeah.
Are we doing the version of Variant Human where you get +1 to 2 stats in addition to a feat?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Right.
We're doing
okay.
the best version.
Awesome. Let me just bump up that strength and con to 16 and 14 then.
Do you want me to wait to roll?
Yeah,
For
let's
HP?
all roll HP together at the same time.
Perfect.
So Elemental Adept is great, and Spell Sniper is great. No changes to those either way. So whichever one you want to pick is fine.
Okay. The doubling of the spell range on Spell Sniper seems crazy, no?
Range
In some
well-
situations.
Yes,
Yes.
that can be very strong.
God, how does hit dice work again? I remember hating it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about healing and resting and hit dice. We're gonna have a whole little discussion
Good.
on that stuff.
Remember when we played last time, 5th edition, the hit dice felt really dumb because it just felt like healing classes didn't matter.
Well, the optimal time in 5th edition to heal someone is like the same turn that they got knocked down. It's like, it's a little
Yeah,
silly.
so they jump back up, right? Get
Yeah.
their action.
Whereas like, because like if you get hit by an ability that does 10 damage and you get healed for 3, well, you still go down. But if you get hit for 10 and then you get healed for 3, it's like you're back up and you get to do stuff again, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Also, while we don't want our player characters to be like super gimped, I think this kind of group is going to focus a bit more on roleplay than we have in the past. It's combat and everything's going to be important. It's going to matter, but I think the role playing is going to be hopefully a huge part of this because that's been my favorite part of Dungeons and Dragons actually.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think I went Elemental Adept.
Great.
Very nice.
Very, very nice.
So
What are your characters' names?
My character's name is Roy.
Does he have a last name?
I don't know what a noble name would be. I don't know. Neil can suggest one if he wants to, but my suggestion was Roy Waystar.
Sounds great.
We
Nick, Greenzer, you're going with Warcaster for your feet?
Well, yeah, I guess so, Neil. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. And PotatoMcWhiskey, what is your feat that you're taking?
My feat is Mounted Combatant. Would
Oh,
you like
that's
me
right.
to explain it?
Please.
Right, so I will have advantage on melee attack rolls against any unmounted creature that is smaller than my mount. So if I'm on a horse, which I think is a large sized creature,
Yeah.
I'll have advantage against a regular person on foot. I can also, if my mount is attacked, I can force any attack on my mount to target me instead, so people have a much harder time just sniping my mount from underneath me. And Dex saving throws. If my mount passes its Dex saving throw for an AoE, it takes no damage, I think.
Sounds great. All right.
And
so,
half damage if it fails.
perfect. So everybody has their stats figured out. Potato, you went 1 extra into strength and 1 extra into either con or charisma. Very nice.
Yes.
The next thing we're going to do is skills, which it looks like we're starting on. So as a variant human, you get, is it 1 extra skill or 2 extra skills?
I think you
I
get 2
believe it's 1
skills.
extra. Oh, no, you're right. It's 2.
It's 2? Okay.
Wait, Neil.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, I changed my mind. I want the lucky feat.
Oh, that's the one we got to talk about. Oh, yeah. Where are my notes on Lucky Feet? Because that shit is broken. It is so broken. You might not like it anymore. Lucky
By skills, you mean
Feet-
proficiency, right? Potato?
Yes.
Yes,
think you get
you
2.
get 1. You get 2 from your class and 1 from your race, and then 2 from your background.
Oh,
Right.
God.
We're just outright banning Lucky Feet. There's no changes to it. There's no way to make it better. It's just gone. Yeah.
God damn it. Okay,
Yeah.
I guess I'm Elemental Adept then.
Sorry, buddy.
Got it. So
all
you get
good.
1 from.
As you saw, it
eight.
is so strong.
Yeah.
Sorry. You get 2 from human variant. Then each of your classes allows you to pick a number of skills based from a short list. And then you can pick a background. Now, the backgrounds that the player's handbook comes with are fine and nice and wonderful. And if you want to pick one of those backgrounds and take the associated skills, that's fine. If none of those backgrounds seem appealing to you, we can make one up and you can sort of assign whatever additional skills you want. Under your character section of the player's handbook, you will get a short list of skills, proficiencies that you can learn, as well as a number. So for clerics, you pick 2 from history, insight, medicine, persuasion, and religion. You pick 2 of those. As a fighter, you would pick 2 from acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, history, insight, intimidation, perception, and survival. It's a long list. You might want to look it up.
Got it.
Paladin. ELM.
I believe Paladin, because I think I've already done it. It is. Oh,
Athletics, insight, intimidation, medicine, persuasion, and religion, and you pick 2 from those.
yes.
Yes. And then our wizard gets to pick. Nope. 2 from Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Medicine, and Religion. We can find that list for you. And then you get 2 for being a human, and then you'll pick a background. And we'll just go through the character sheet slowly, make sure everyone's got their skills, then we'll roll HP. We'll talk about blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. So for my skills, there's the knight background. I think you take persuasion and history, but I would much more like my character to be more leaning into like he was a knight, but he was much happier to be like running around in the wilderness as a kid. So I'd like to switch those over to survival and animal handling because he'd like take his horse and just run off into the woods for
That's
a weekend.
perfect. That's great for an adventuring knight who's been on crusades or squiring to someone who's been on crusades and whatnot.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with knight as well. I don't think history would matter unless it's gonna be. Well, it's like the history of also like families, right? It's not just like. Okay, yeah, then it would. That's good.
Yeah.
History and persuasion, yes. And I'll take survival. Cool.
And
So
then
my
as you mark them on your sheets, would you also mark them on the overlays?
Oh yes.
Excellent. I think by the end of this, everyone should have 6 skills.
I think it's 5. 2 from your class, 1 from your feat, and then 2 from the other thing.
It's 1 from being very
Your
human. Gotcha.
It is 1, yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Then everyone should have 5 by the end of this.
So, backgrounds. So you're saying, Neil, that we don't necessarily have to pick one of the backgrounds from the player's
You
handbook.
don't.
We can kind
If those backgrounds don't fit you, and I know your character has an interesting background that none of those will probably work with very well, we can finagle some stuff.
Okay. I'll just have a look through some of these to get some ideas.
So while everyone is looking, since 2 of you are done with all of your skills, why don't you tell us a little bit about your character, PotatoMcWhiskey? What is your background? What's your character's past?
Right. So I tried to make a interesting noble character. He is the 3rd son of a newly minted noble family that was gifted land that was previously held by the ogres after the Good King's crusade against the Oathbreaker ogres. He was given town charter. He set up a town and he built like a little wooden fort. And so they're kind of like a low-ranking noble family. But his father was an honorable officer in the army. He served on many campaigns, and so he his name is not unknown in the royal court. Like, he's like, oh, that guy, yeah, he was at the Plains of Woe, and he fought, necromancer, blah blah blah. And because he's a third son, he grew up in the shadow of his older brothers, especially. And his mother didn't have a whole lot of time for him, so his older sister Yen looked after him until she was married off to another family when he was kind of becoming a man. He was kind of in that transition phase, and he felt a bit of an injustice that his sister was taken away from him, so he kind of is a little chip on his shoulder about that. He's trained to be a competent fighter. He's formally trained in etiquette. Not very good at etiquette, but he likes fighting and he likes adventuring. He likes going out into the forest and staying there for a weekend. He came of age towards the end of the War of the Bay, the big war that preceded this that ended up with the king dying. And his father and him did not get along very well because they're too similar in personality, right? They're both boisterous and confident and decisive people, which, when you don't agree, that can cause conflict.
Right.
And his father basically said, join the church or the army and get the hell out of my sight. And so he kind of chose to become a paladin, which was kind of doing both. And his father was like, okay, fair play, And he wrote a letter to, I think, the royal court asking for a squireship. And he just so happened to get a squireship to Lady Lazarus, who is the leader of the expedition that we are going on.
That's a pretty good squireship. And she's one of the few paladins in the area, and you are a paladin in training, so you haven't really made your final oaths yet, right? You're still kind of feeling out which direction you're going to be as a paladin.
Correct. I haven't made an oath. I'm still figuring out who my exact patron deity will be and what type of oath I will swear. I might actually have my deity figured out. I'll have to query you about which one might be good to pick.
Okay. And I've also noticed you put an 8 in intelligence. You dumped it.
Yeah.
Tell me about that decision.
He's I wanted him to be essentially a big country man who is not the cleverest man, but I figure intelligence is you understand how technology works. You spend a lot of time reading books. You do you care. You spend a lot of time.
Things,
Yeah, things and you do things. He's more of a he'll give a yell and a whoop and say, "What are you reading books for? Let's go hunt a deer." He's let's go out and do things. What are you doing in here in a dusty room reading for? You fool. That kind of a thing.
Excellent. All right. Well, Mr. Moon, you've also done all of your stats. So tell me about your character.
Character's name is Cassian Rin. He is the first son of the Rin family. He was noble born. He has a strong calling to king and country. So much so that his dad pulled a few strings and was able to get him an apprenticeship, a knightship, a squireship under the best knight in all the land named Batu Khan. He does not lie, which is one thing that I think that he shares with Potato's character. These are two characters who refuse to lie, which could come in trouble in the future of the campaign. He's generous. He gives to others when he can. So if he has a blanket and a cloak and he sees a little child on the side of the street, he'll give her the blanket because he's got his cloak and he's gonna, have that for the night. It's not much to him. Comes from a nice family, so he feels like he can give when he can. If he makes a pledge, he's going to be faithful to it. He smokes a pipe. Always has his pipe, and he's been looking for the long lost rare, what's it called, magical item that is a pipe that basically you can smoke out of, and you can make monsters appear. Not actual monsters, just smoke monsters. They don't do anything. It just, if you blow out of the pipe, a dragon will come out. It looks cool. He follows Bushido, which is something that I'm going to try to do with this character. Basically, I think Bushido, from my limited understanding, is 7 core-ish tenets, which is mercy, respect, courage, honor, compassion, justice, loyalty, and self-control. So yeah, I'm trying to make a very good human fighter who comes from a lot, and is going to give back to those who need it and protect those who need protected.
Excellent. PotatoMcWhiskey, did you have a name for your character yet?
Oh, sorry. His name is Vashir Talat.
How do you spell that?
So Vasher, and then Talat is Talat.
Excellent. Okay. Great. Let's take a look at our overlays and see what else. Greenzerg, I'm noticing you haven't applied any bonuses to your stats yet. At least not on the overlay. What did you get your +1s to?
Wait, I thought that was instead of a feat.
No. It's in
No, you get
addition
it
to a
plus.
feat.
Instead of you getting +1 in every stat, Nick, you get 2 +1s,
Oh,
whatever
it's
you
plus
choose.
1 in every start.
Yeah.
Ah.
No, it's +1 to 2 stats.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, but the other one
Okay,
is
okay.
+1 in
Yeah,
every
yeah.
stat. Yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
Cool. Alright.
Okay, there we go. So I go back to what it was. I know what skills I would like to have for my background. I couldn't see one in a list that had the two that I wanted together. I think it makes some sense. So I want athletics and medicine, right? So my argument for this is that he's been in the army, he's worked on ships. Clearly, that's a job that requires some athleticism. He was raised in a church. He's a priest. Makes sense that if he's in the army, he would like do medicine, right? Like patch up wounds and things like that. So,
And you have
that's the two
access
I
to
want.
healing spells, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
All
fine.
right.
Grab those skills. And while you're doing that, let's hear from Pokemon Challenges about his character's background.
So, Roy Waystar is a young child. Well, he's no longer a child, but he's a child of a noble family. And he grew up extremely spoiled and, extremely well-kept, silver spoon in his mouth and everything. And this is his first real outing in the real world. And the reason that he's out here is because Roy has always had a fascination with this land and the adventure and expeditions and exploring. But the problem is Roy never really bothered to really look up the true history of anything going on here or speak to anyone from this land. He just knows it from legend and folklore, and he's fascinated with those legends and those stories and can't wait to see all the things that those legends and stories will bring to him here. And I guess we'll see how accurate those tales were that were told to him. He's quite nice. He's quite he's a little bit more shy until he gets to talk about his interests that he has. And he's a wizard, and he has a big fascination with the wizards and the tales and the stories that he's been told about that perform powerful feats and throw fireballs to end evil people, and has ideals such as that, and the people that he looks up to are the big wizards from those stories. He gets a little upset if he doesn't get what he wants. He's a very picky eater, and he sometimes will be wimpy and scared if things get a little bit too scary. But he's excited to go on this expedition.
Excellent.
My character and Pokemon's character are somewhat connected. Batu Khan was tasked with keeping Roy Waystar safe on the mission, but as we know, or as I think Koibu said, all of the high-level, super amazing characters perish in like a huge shipwreck. So Cassian Rin is going to be taking over that responsibility and keeping the Waystar son protected and safe.
Excellent. Greenzerg, do you have a character name yet?
Yeah, I do. Well, my character has his given name, and then he has his name that was given to him in his baptism when he became a cleric. So
What
can-
would you like on the overlay?
yes, you can do his cleric name, which is Styrmir, like Stymir. Oh no, Styrmir.
Y-R-M-I-R. Styrmir.
Yeah, and he has no last name as he is not a noble.
Excellent. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your character's background, Styrmir?
Yeah, so Styrmir was left as a baby on the steps of a local temple, presumably by his mother, but he will never know. Neither will anyone in his life ever be able to tell him that. Raised in the church, just basically doing menial tasks there, sort of cleaning, mending things, maybe if he was lucky after a few years, fixing a book perhaps, maybe doing a little bit of study, like some reading on religious matters, but never really was sort of in the church because it was like chosen by him. It's just sort of the life that was given to him. When he gets a bit older, he leaves the church, joins the army, serves in the army for many years, sailing around as people in the army in Tide's End would do generally. Something happens to him. I don't want to really go into it now because I don't think it's something that he would really talk about a lot. Probably because he just doesn't think people would believe him. But some great event happens in his life, and after this event, he decides to commit himself to the service of the gods, rebaptizing himself as Sturmir and a Tempest cleric. Rejoins his position in the army, this time being a ship's priest, sort of just helping with sort of estimating what the weather might do, saying prayers to give the ship safe passage, that kind of thing. And that's kind of like what he's done for the rest of his life. He's on this journey. When the ship crashes, there's more powerful clerics on the ship. I'm sure he might be the only one who survives. As a man, he's a good person. He has a strong sense of his own moral compass. Won't stand for people that are bullies or trying to take advantage of people who are weaker, and feels the need to stand up to people like that. But not in a sort of battle of wits, but in a sort of show of force, as if to, if you're going to try and bully someone else, then I'm going to bully you and show you who's the, why you're such a weak person kind of thing. Doesn't particularly have respect for the nobility or the sort of war and order of the land. He's kind of in this for himself and his own sort of moral sense of self-worth and following his own path and trying to do good. He's not really here because he believes that much in good King Arnold or the resurrection or even the wars of the Stormtide Kingdom. He's just in it for himself, not for himself, but just to live his life and do good and take things as it comes. So yeah, he's older than the rest of the party, I think, probably in his early 50s. Looks old, has sort of longish grey hair, a beard. Maybe is quite like a bit of a father figure to men that he works with on ships and things like that. Yeah, generally an all-round good guy, but can be a bit sort of unpredictable at times. Jumps to force quickly.
All right. And I see that you have dumped dexterity. Tell me why dex is your lowest stat.
Well, it's more a process of elimination, I think, right? So he's obviously got high wisdom. He's a cleric. He's a fighter in the army, so he's strong. He's hardy. That's strength and con. And I think of him with the remaining 3 stats. I think he's more intelligent. He's spent time with books. He can read. And he's not uncharismatic. And I think, he's an old guy. He's wearing heavy armor. He's been doing a physical job his whole life. I just don't think is too dexterous,
Okay. So no character decision, just raw game mechanics.
Well, it's not that it's raw game mechanics so much as I just think it makes the most sense for the character. I also don't think that 8 dex is that low, right? So
it's not. It's well within the range of average. 8 to 13 is like your average band of stats. So sort of an ordinary folk. Cool. And I did forget, MrMouton, to ask you why you dumped int. You want to tell us?
Yeah, it wasn't really. It doesn't feel like a dump because it's not even like a super low stat. But int just felt like what would matter for him the least in all of his aspects. He's strong because he's a knight. He's a fighter. He's pretty dexterous. He can get his way around combat. He's a big guy. I plan on making him a bit heftier than the average dude. He's not like. I was between int and wisdom, and I think it could go either way. This is just how it happened. And charisma, he is pretty charismatic. He can make people laugh. However, he is a little bit to the point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I think we know why Pokemon challenges dropped strength. Makes a lot of sense for a wizard. Pretty classic strength drop there. So I think with this point, we're going to go to our first break, and we're going to come back in a few minutes on the other side and talk a little bit more about character creation. We're going to roll for some hit points. We're going to talk about some house rules and a whole bunch of other stuff, and we'll see you on the other side of our break. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Lazarus expedition. So, next up is just going to be some real simple, real easy hit point rolling. Everyone's going to start at... We're all starting at second level, and we're going to be starting at... the first level, you start at max HP. The second level, we roll for. So, let's take PotatoMcWhiskey's character, for example, a human paladin. I believe you roll a d10 for HP. So, you'll... Right?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. So, you would have
Yeah,
started
I
at
think
first
so.
level at 10 plus your con mod of 2. So you would have started at 12, and for second level, you will roll a d10 plus 2. We'll just add that together.
Would you like me to roll that in chat now?
Yes, please, at your leisure.
Big money, big money. Let's go.
Ooh,
Nice.
I'll take a 9.
Nice.
Very good. Excellent. Next character is going to be Pokemon Challenges character. You are a wizard who rolls a d6 for HP. Your con mod is 0. So you will start with 6 HP at first level and roll a d6 for second level. Nice. Nice. 8 HP is one-shottable range. Love it.
Yikes.
Green Zerg coming up next.
Yep. So I roll a d8. I've got
Uh-huh.
a 2 for my con mod.
Huh?
So
One
I'm going to be
incoming.
rolling d8 plus 12, right?
It'll be d8 plus 2, and then we'll add it to your 10.
Add the
So yeah, d8 plus 12.
All right, let's go. Okay.
Nice.
You know, listen, I'll
It's above
take
average.
17. Yep.
That's great. That's
That is
great.
great.
Now, MrMouton, you've taken the tough feat, so you're going to have a lot more HP than everybody else. You would start at 10 for fighter,
Plus 2 for
2 for con, and
plus
2 for tough.
So
So you're starting at
14,
14, and you're rolling a d10 plus 4.
4.
Nice.
14
Still
and
at
8 is still
22.
22. That's pretty solid.
Yeah. Good. Thank God I took
Okay.
the tough feat.
If you don't mind
sure.
drawing your HP on the overlays,
I'm
so I
gonna
can
draw
add it to our character sheets as we get there. Excellent.
22. What type of climate? I don't know if you want to answer this now. What type of climate are we going to be adventuring in?
Our campaign is going to be starting in a desert area, but over the course of the campaign, we will visit many different climates.
Got it.
Well, at least many different biomes. Climate-wise, it'll be pretty moderate. I don't think we have any freezing areas or anything like that going on.
Forgot to say, my character Cassian is Trump level, like Trumple level of crazy for King Arthur. Was his name?
Good King Arnold.
Arnold. Good
King Arnold. Yeah, Trump level crazy for Good King Arnold. he's at firsthand seen Good King Arnold do amazing things. You know, one of his best friends was slaves that Good King Arnold freed. So he is just Good King Arnold can do no wrong.
Mm-hmm. Make Arnold live again. Molly.
Yes.
Yes.
Molly.
Okay. In our the journal area, the same place where you would find your character sheet, you're going to see 3 handouts. I'm going to bring them to you right now. So this first handout is the actions handout. This will kind of give you an overview of all of the standard 5th edition actions. So if you're ever kind of curious what you can do in a round, this will give you the brief overview of the general things. If you're creative, you can always find stuff outside of it. This is all pretty much rules as written with 1 or 2 major changes. The first one is to disengage. When you take the disengage action, your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks, but only as you're moving away from enemies. So if there's like a whole formation of soldiers in front of you or monsters in front of you, you can't disengage and then just like run through the enemy lines without taking any attacks. You can only disengage away from your enemies. The other thing is that dash, we're going to see on another page, has been slightly modified, and I don't think it comes into play for any of these characters, so you can only take one dash action on a turn. It really only affects rogues, so I think it's fine here.
Like bonus actions and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Our next thing that I'm going to show us is the combat and movement rules. These will give us a little bit of custom house rules to our campaign. We're going to use the rules as written flanking system. So if you are on opposite sides of an enemy, and there are very clear rules on what that means, we can get into it a little bit later, you get advantage on attack rolls, or both of you get advantage on attack rolls against that enemy if you're on opposite sides and flanking it. We're adding the concept of surprise to 5th edition. So if you are surprised, there's an ambush going on or something, you essentially don't get to do anything that round. The enemies get a free action, a free round of attacks, and you don't get any of your AC adjustments from dexterity or shields or other stuff going on, because you're surprised, you're flat-footed, and your dexterity doesn't apply. Similarly, there are a couple other situations where dexterity from your shield or AC adjustments from shield or dexterity won't apply. If you are unconscious, your dexterity doesn't modify your armor class. Unconscious characters don't get to dodge automatically. Unconscious characters don't get to use their shields to block, that sort of thing. I think it's pretty simple and straightforward. You can use a bonus action to make a non-interactive skill check on a round. So if you want to you're in the middle of a fight and you want to look for something, you can use a bonus action to make a perception check. Or if you want to try to answer a riddle on your turn, you could use a bonus action to make a history check to see if you can recall the detail from history or whatever. Let's see. Suffocating rules have been changed ever so slightly. We've got some well-defined rules for cover from other people in front of you. And swimming has been modified a little bit so that if you're encumbered or if you're wearing stuff that doesn't float automatically, you're probably going to sink when you fall into the water. So don't try and swim in your chainmail or your plate mail or with a box of gold, because it's just not going to work. And last but not least is our resting rules. And when these pop up, there's a little magnifying glass that you can click on to blow it up to the full screen. 5th edition has two types of rests. There's long rests and there's short rests. And 5th edition defines, or I shouldn't say defines, there's an expected 5 to 8 encounters that you should have between each long rest. And mostly this is designed for a campaign where you're hacking and slashing your way through a lot of things in a single day. But the pacing that we're going to go through isn't so much you have 5 encounters every single day. It's going to be more on your journey to this place, you will have 5 or 6 encounters. So we're changing long rests from 1 night of sleep to a week of downtime. And on a long rest, you get back all of your hit points and all of your spells and all of your stuff, essentially. And a short rest, instead of being 10 minutes hanging out on the side of the road, is going to be a good night of sleep, well rested, warm, comfortable. You're not being interrupted by screaming children or monsters attacking you in the middle of the night. We're introducing a couple other classes of rest as well, which don't normally exist. Rough rest is sort of, you get some sleep, but it's not very good, and it doesn't give you any penalties or bonuses. It's sort of the catch-all for maybe you're adventuring and it's raining and you don't have a tent, and so you go to bed but you're kind of wet and cold the whole night and you don't actually get any meaningful rest, but you don't get any worse. The opposite would be no rest, where you end up staying awake all night long for one reason or another. This will give you a penalty of 1 level of exhaustion, which is a 5th edition mechanic we'll get into. Additionally, if you're trying to stay awake all night and just get no rest, maybe one person volunteers to stay on watch the whole night long, you're going to have to make a DC 10 wisdom save to stay up all night. Of course, if you want to be active and running around and doing things and maybe force marching through the night or fighting through the night or something like that, you can pull an all-nighter, which is our last rest category. It'll give you 2 levels of exhaustion, but since you're active throughout the whole time, you don't have to make any saves to accidentally fall asleep. And this will bring us to MrMouton's questions about hit dice and healing. The way that you heal naturally in 5th edition is by expending hit dice on a short rest. You have basically 3 levels, or 3 different types of durability. You've got your hit points, which are pretty straightforward. You've got your exhaustion, which if you open your character sheets, you'll see that there's an exhaustion level. And if you mouse over like the 0, there's a little up and down arrow that you can tick and play with. And the more exhaustion you have, the more penalties you get. So 1 level exhaustion is disadvantage on ability checks. 2 levels of exhaustion is your speed gets halved. In addition, 3 levels of exhaustion, you have disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws, and so forth and so on. The last level of exhaustion is 6, and you die. The third type of endurance you have are your hit dice, and that is like a theoretical pool that allows you to recover from injuries. So let's say you're a 5th level fighter. You have 5 hit dice, 1 for each level. And when you sleep at night, you get to spend as many of those hit dice as you want to recover hit points. Your hit dice regain very slowly. You gain 1 hit die every night, and you can spend as many as you want in the morning. So if you start off your adventure, you got 5 hit dice. On the first day, you're almost killed. You're brought down to like 1 hit point. So you go to sleep. And the next morning, after a good rest, you get to spend hit dice. Maybe you want to spend all 5 of your hit dice. So you get to roll, if you're a fighter, you'd roll 5d10 plus your con mod for each one of those, and you regain that much HP. And then if you take some battle, do a battle, take some damage or whatever, the next night you regain 1 hit die, and you can spend that hit die to regain HP. This way you have like a nice slow ticking supply of HP that can be recovered over a period of time. And if you're well rested and well recovered and you have all of your hit dice stocked up, then if you get knocked down badly in one day, you kind of get like a quick restart, and then it's like a slow building from then on out. So that is going to be the hit die resting HP recovery mechanics. Now that's a lot of information really fast at you. Does anyone have any questions about this?
No, I just remember hating how hit dice felt. It felt like, nothing really matters until you're low on hit dice. Otherwise, you can like see you have 5 hit dice and you're just like, oh, I'll get back to full HP in the morning.
Well, we'll see. I've learned a lot about running 5e campaigns. It's the last time we've done this. Hopefully it'll come out a little bit better.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure it'll be better.
You're right.
I think it's a little bit better than in because like a short rest in base rules is like just stopping for 10 minutes, so you can just basically heal back up to full with your hit die after waiting 10 minutes. At least in this, you're going to get a night's sleep.
Right, and it has to be a good night's sleep. You can't just be.
Yeah.
If you're out in the wilds, mostly you're going to be sleeping rough because you'll be a little bit concerned about being attacked by monsters. You know, you'll be waking at every startling noise that happens when you're out in the woods or out in the jungles,
I think that's
or
a really good
whatnot.
addition.
Yeah, and so that way when you
That's
revisit
new, right?
town, yeah, for us it's going to be new. When you revisit town, you'll be able to heal up. And this will also sort of give us a nice soft incentive to encourage our players to make nice with the townies, because you're going to want to be able to stay in inns to recover your resources, or at least within the walls of a safe place, so you're not worried about every gust of sand or every camel call in the distance.
Do we need languages in this campaign? Or in 5th edition, I guess?
Yes-ish.
Should we give up like skill points or something for that, or no? Okay.
We're all going to speak common. That's the language of the humans. We're all humans. There will be specific dialects that you might not speak. Like Goblinoid is going to be a language, so you might run into a situation where it would be nice to have a translator for that. Maybe one of you picks up a language along the way. I don't know. Maybe some of your backgrounds might give you an option of having learned a language, but
I believe variant humans start with +1 language, I think.
Really? God, they're so good.
I think that they do. Yeah, it's so good.
Well, humans have always been the best.
True. No, dwarves are the best.
Not three.
Why don't you play a dwarf?
Wow.
In the next campaign, I will be playing a dwarf.
Oh, exciting.
Well, okay, kinda.
1 feat, 1 skill, 2 ability points, no languages.
No language.
Awesome.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, so we're just gonna have everyone start with common, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Perfect.
Great. So what else do we need to do with our characters?
We've not chosen like our, like at least like
Gear.
for me, I've not talked about my domain. I know
Yeah.
for Pokemon Challenges Wizard, there's another thing. I think there is for everyone, right?
Yeah.
It's level 3 though, right?
Well,
Uh-huh.
for you, it's level 3 as a fighter, and
Yeah.
for PotatoMcWhiskey, it's level 3 when he picks his oath. But the cleric had to pick his domain at first level, and the wizard picked his domain at first level 2. I think his specialization. Let's start with Pokemon challenges. What
Oh, really
type?
quick.
Oh yeah.
Do I get 1 extra language because I'm a noble?
If it's in your feats, then I think so.
If it's in your feats, then absolutely. Or in your background, I mean. Noble languages, one of your choice. Yes. So,
Yeah.
Roy Waystar, what language would you like to speak? Most of the monster tongues have their own language. Most of the monsters that were in and around your area would have been like ogres or goblins, or there was a group of sea elves that were very important during the reign of good King Arnold as well. So Elvish could have been a language you picked up.
What about the area that we're traveling to?
The humans of that land will speak the same language as your people. We're
Yes.
early enough in the beginning of the world where the humans haven't diversified their languages. They're all speaking the common tongue right now.
Yeah.
What's like a common monster there that like
Yeah, exactly.
you would have heard of that from that land, etc.
Hmm.
Like, or something that like comes up in like the stories about this land that I would then get fascinated with, so I'd learn the language, you know?
That's a really good question. The things that you would mostly have heard about would have been the elves of Arcadia and maybe the dwarves of Arcadia. The monsters there, you probably wouldn't have heard too many legends about. Like, they would have been very diversified. There would have been lots of them. But there's a strong elven presence in the north of Arcadia. They have, like, huge
think-
forests out there.
I think it would be Elvish then.
Excellent. Okay.
Do I have to specify this on my character sheet anywhere?
Yeah, if
Bottom
you
left.
that's it. Thought. The very, very bottom. If you scroll all the way down, other proficiencies and languages, you can click the plus on the bottom left side and type in some stuff.
Thank you, Tim.
Okay. Which is, where were we before that?
Should we describe our characters first?
Yes, please do.
Nick, you can go first. You're
You're
muted.
muted.
It's his stock, Nick.
I was saying I'd like to think about it for a
Okay,
second
okay.
if somebody else wants to go first. Yeah.
I think MrMouton volunteered to go first.
I'll go first then. Cassie and Rin is what's like average height for the time period? Are we 6 foot? Are we like 5'2"?
5'8"?
5'8".
Yeah, for a human male.
He's 5'9", a little bit taller than average. However, he is a hefty, bigger guy, but not fat. He's like husky.
Like a gladiator.
Probably, yeah, he's like a gladiator. You know, he's got a little bit of extra pounds packing on him. You're not sure if it's muscle or if he's just, you know, drank a little too much in his time. He has black hair, in very gladiator-esque cut. I don't know, Gladiator, like the movie Gladiator, like that haircut. Black, but super pretty short. He wears armor. Is that allowed?
You could have worn armor, but since we're recovering from a shipwreck, you do not have it when we start.
Okay. recovering from a shipwreck, so he's in currently tattered clothing, but in his homeland, he has a very nice plate armor that is plastered with his family sigil, which is a... Can I just make it up, Koibu? Is it cool?
Yeah.
It's a rose with one petal, like, falling down. That is the Rin family symbol. Gold armor, black shoulders. He has a sword that was passed down. Is the sword still around or no? It's not magical.
We're gonna roll for some of that stuff coming
Roll
up.
for his equipment.
Yeah.
His sword was named Shanky, and it's been passed down from his great-grandfather. It's one of the non-magical weapons that his great family has. Let me think. Is there anything else I want to describe it as? Oh, he's got a pipe. It's like a Gandalf pipe, and he always has it. He does have a beard as well. Very long. Short hair, long beard. Kind of weird, but that's what he's got.
Hold on.
Okay, I can go now if you want.
Yes.
Okay, so Sturmir is an oldish man. You know, he's in his 50s. He's lived a life at sea, so his skin is leathery and tanned. He has just past shoulder length white hair that he keeps, like, doesn't have a hairband or a ponytail or anything like that. He just kind of pushes it back off his head. He's got a short beard, like sort of relatively well trimmed, also white. He's got green eyes. Usually would wear chainmail, carry a shield, and a hammer. We'll see how much of that makes it past the shipwreck, though.
Excellent. Right. What about you? Character name Vashar Talat.
Sure. Vashir is a... Vashir. Or Vashar works, Vashir. People might say it wrong. You've got a different dialect, you know? He's a big country boy. He is a tall, he could be, you know, they don't really measure much, but he could be like 6'1", 6'2". He's like a big country lad. Keeps his hair shaved incredibly short, because he thinks it, you know, makes him faster when he runs. And he probably has the body type of a young farmer, like a person who's out in the countryside all the time, running around the fields, doing agriculture. Even though he was a lord and a noble, he loves the outdoors. He's an outdoorsy kind of guy. So he's not ripped, but he has that kind of farmer strength, you know, where he wouldn't be the biggest guy you'd know, but he has like an iron grip. You know, that kind of...
Mm-hmm. Like a strong man, not like a muscle-bound man, but like...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he has beautiful blue eyes and a smile that could launch a ship.
Oh. And last but not least, we have Roy Waystar. What is your character's description?
So, in terms of build, does anyone remember the Disney Channel show Recess?
Yeah.
Does anyone remember the character Mikey from that show?
Oh, Mikey?
Yeah. So
the fact
A
we're
real nerdy guy?
no, we're pretty tall, but we're also kind of fat.
Yeah.
We've got messy blonde hair. We're young, but our hairline isn't great. And our facial hair growth is also, you know, not coming in too great. So we got all that going on. We're wearing glasses, thick glasses. If that's a thing, right, Neil, for a nobleman?
Yeah.
For sure. And yeah, we like wearing pretty clothes. We're not very much the outdoorsy type. We don't have a lot of experience with outdoorsy clothes, so we're just wearing whatever would be comfortable for us on our travels. That's Roy. He's just chilling. But you know what? Honestly, he's always smiling and he's nice, and his voice is not as deep as his build might suggest.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna do a voice for the campaign?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think we've come to the point where it's time to roll for the gear we're gonna start with.
Wait, sorry,
but-
shouldn't we talk about our domain and
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
we can do that, Sorry.
Yeah, kind of. Sorry, I thought that was going to be part of our what you were saying, but please, tell us about your domain, Tempest.
yeah,
Cleric.
so I'm going to be playing, there you go, a Tempest Cleric. So that gives me something like, basically I get a few spells like Thunderwave and Fog Cloud. Neil's also given me access to Armor of Agathis. Is it Armor of Agathis?
Mhm.
Yeah. Means I can wear heavy armor, means I can use martial weapons, and I can sort of like rebuke people with thunder damage when they attack me.
Mm.
Very nice.
Blast them away. Yeah.
Every round or just every once in a while?
Once per long rest, I think.
How much damage is it? 1d6? 1d8?
2d8.
Oh, that's
It's
not
actually
bad.
very
That's good.
strong.
And you get to
Yeah.
choose when, or is it just the first?
No, I can choose when, and starting at level 2, I can use my Channel Divinity to, rather than rolling whenever I do thunder damage, I can just maximize the damage. And I can do that, I think, twice per day, twice per short rest,
Nice.
maximize thunder damage. So I'm only going to have limited opportunities to do thunder damage at first, but through the Rebuke and through like Thunderwave spell, but that's pretty cool.
I like how in 5th edition they made Cleric do actual damage versus 2nd edition of
Still better.
pretty much just a helper, you know?
Mhm.
I also see people asking me what god. So, I figured in Neil's sort of pantheon, there's not an obvious sort of like storm/weather god. But I was talking to Neil about it, and because this is like sort of set well in the past, in sort of the early days of the timeline, things were different back then. So he's more of a generalist cleric when it comes to the pantheon. Sometimes he's going to appeal to Malchus, sometimes to Nadinus, other times to Martha, depending on the situation.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
you can't choose a god. You just
Yeah, I'm not choosing a specific god. I'm keeping my options open.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things as we play through various stages of Arcadia is going to see the difference in how magic has worked over the time. This cleric being able to pick from, being sort of more of a generalist and picking gods here and there, is the first of the hints that we're going to get. When we talk about Roy Waystar's background and the things that he gets off of the boat, we're going to talk a little bit more about wizards and their place in society in the very early days of the world, because it's going to be quite a bit different. MrMouton, why don't you go next? Do you have an idea of what class, what fighter subtype you want to tech into?
I'm either going to be going champion or samurai. I'm not really sure. Samurai seems a bit more involved, whereas champion, you're kind of just rolling for crits. So I'll probably do samurai because I want to test something new out. And he does follow Bushido. Bushido? Yeah. So, yeah. I'm probably going samurai.
And PotatoMcWhiskey, what are you thinking about for your paladin? You're not there
So,
yet, but you
Haven't quite sworn my final odes yet, but I think depending on how the first couple of episodes play out, it's likely I'll either go for, I think is it the Oath of Crown or Oath of Kings, which is basically pledging to a monarch, like to protect and serve. It could be an Oath of Vengeance, to, get revenge on the people killing my king. Or I think the other one, I think it might have been Redemption or something like that. There was a couple of ones I was looking at, but I haven't quite fully decided upon that yet.
okay?
Do I need to pick a fighting style for second level? Fighting style for first level.
Yeah, I think fighters get a first level fighting style.
Fighting style 5e. Yes.
Absolutely.
I think-
Have you picked one yet?
No, I didn't even know
Oh.
about this.
Wow, that's a pretty core thing. We should take a look at that. Let's see. Green Zerg, you've already got all of your first and second level stuff, right? It's just
I do need to add
Yeah.
the cantrips, though. I need to pick
Right.
3.
Right. And there are 4 spells from the cleric list that have been redacted. Those spells are reserved for specifically clerics of Martha, Malchus, Vorasi, or Astaire. So Martha clerics are the only ones who get Healing Word. Malchus clerics are the only ones who get Bane. Vorasi clerics are the only ones who get Cause Wounds. And Astaire clerics are the only ones who get Command. As a Tempest cleric, you got Armor of Agathis as your bonus spell, in addition to all of the standard stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you still get healing, but you don't get Healing Word, which is really strong.
Sure.
It is, because it's ranged. Because you can heal someone who's
I
down.
know. That's yeah. I know. It's the one
Yeah.
that brings people back up super easily.
Yeah. Alrighty. Last but not least, we have Roy. Tell us about your wizard type.
So I believe that Roy would make the most sense for him to go into evocation, because he has heard the great stories of the mages killing the bad guys with their fireballs, and I think that is just the archetypal wizard for him in his mind, the superhero, so to speak, that he wants to strive to be. And then I think with Elemental Adept, I get to pick one element to empower, basically, right? And I think it would make the most sense for that to be fire.
All right, excellent. Now let's talk about the gear we're going to get off our boat. Now, MrMouton, you had said you had a sword, a family heirloom.
That's right.
Tell me about your family heirloom.
It's a
Make us-
massive fucking sword, Neil.
Whoa.
Kind of like Guts' sword from that fucking manga.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's a huge sword, which is why he has the great weapon fighting style, which allows him to reroll 1 and 2s on damage rolls.
Excellent. Big swords are kind of heavy, aren't they?
They are.
So
However, it is a family heirloom.
Right. And a great
Wants to
sword
protect it with his life.
isn't necessarily pretty useful on a ship.
Correct.
You wouldn't be carrying it around because it's going to be dangling behind you or over your shoulder. It's going to be getting caught on the door frames and the narrow walkways and the small portholes and whatnot. The bulkheads all over the ship are going to catch it. You're not going to be able to swing it around on the deck. So you would probably keep such an important family heirloom tucked away somewhere safe on the boat.
Absolutely. In a chest.
Yeah.
Probably near his bed.
So when hold on, gotta change up the music for this though. When the storm is coming, when things are going poorly, and when you begin to hear the ship break, you're gonna clearly try to salvage your family's heirloom sword, right?
Shanky, of course. Yes, of course.
So what check do you think it's good
I think
to
it should
make?
be a few checks.
Well, tell me.
Because he's going to be running through the boat. You know, he might need an athletics check to pick up something that is in his way while the ship's breaking. Maybe a barrel falls in front of the door and he needs to push it out in like a quick manner. I would say mainly a few, maybe 2 athletics checks, and then maybe an acrobatics, somewhere in the vicinity around there.
That's a lot of checks. So why don't we say 1 athletics check,
Okay.
and 1 acrobatics check for you to
What
be
do
able
we-
to get. Because I imagine as a fighter, you're probably like near the top of the ship, trying to help with, you know, either bailing things out or patching things up.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be in some sort of active position, and when you hear the call to abandon ship, you're going to have to quickly get to your place, and you're probably going to
Going
be
for my massive fucking sword.
yeah. So
What am I rolling for here in 2nd edition or in 5th edition? 2nd
You're
edition,
gonna-
you just need to hit 21.
you need I think we're going to be doing 10. So you only need a 10. However, you're trained in acrobatics and athletics, so that shouldn't be too
22
terribly hard
athletics
for
check. He easily maneuvers past the barrel, goes downstairs. Now he needs to jump over the shit on the ground to be able to get the chest before it falls down.
you. Yeah. And unfortunately, as the ship begins to split, you see the chest slide You go to grab it, but your grip starts slipping on whatever it is that's holding, and you have to choose between your sword and your life, and the sword slips beneath the waves, forever gone. Is there any other piece of important gear that in a panic you might be able to grab? Anything else that matters to you? Maybe your money pouch, maybe something else?
Probably next to his bedside would be a dagger and his money pouch.
Okay. That seems like a pretty easy thing to grab. It might even be in like a little drawer or like strung on a thing. So why don't you give me just another acrobatics check to like hold on to things while you're trying to grab this stuff before it all goes to hell. Excellent. Yes, you can grab a dagger and a money pouch. So you will start the campaign with 1 dagger and 50 gold. You can add those.
Is there anyone downstairs that he can save? Is there anyone like trapped?
Oh, there's a lot. It's a man for yourself at this point, buddy. Everybody's going for their things. Everybody's trying to get their own stuff.
No young kids or anything who need their lives saved? He's running up the stairs. He looks back.
I mean, yeah, you could go back down, but you're probably going to die if you do. This is a get out while you still can moment. Greenzerg.
He leaves his family's +5 sword. Lets her go to the bottom of the ocean.
Greenzerg, what does your cleric have that is valuable that you might try to salvage from the ship?
I mean, probably the most valuable thing he owns is his weapons and his armor and his shield. I imagine he's wearing his holy symbol. So he'll already have that with him. He's not going to be wearing his armor on the ship. So I think he'd probably go back to his chambers and grab his armor and his weapon and his shield. I mean, that's what he would try to. Maybe at some point he'd abandon that to try and save his life. But...
Well, why don't you make me an athletics chip to get down to where your stuff is and fight past the people who are pushing up and the waters that's pushing you down and the barrels that are in your way.
Yes, athletics check. Let's go. 23.
Oh, natural 20. Yeah, you easily get to your stuff. You can grab your armor, which might be hanging over your bed or tucked underneath your bed or something. But here's a big problem. The armor's heavy and the ocean is deep. You're going to need something floating to put the armor on, because if you have to carry it, you'll just die. So I need you to make me some sort of check to like put the armor on something stable. Maybe it's an acrobatics check to put your chainmail or whatever it is over a barrel and then like hug the barrel.
Well, I would say, the reason why I get to my armor so easily here is because this is the ship that Sturmir has been on for years. He's probably been on this ship for close to a decade. Just on its various adventures. This is the ship he's been assigned to. So he knows it extremely well. So I would argue he'd probably know exactly where to go to find the thing that he was looking for. It would just be a case of knowing what it was. So I would say, maybe insight would be the better role than acrobatics.
I don't know. I feel like since you already know what's going on, the real trouble is getting the gear on the barrel. Like, equipping chainmail or splint mail or whatever it is to a barrel in the middle of a storm sounds like the harder part than finding such a thing.
Well, I don't know if that's the thing. I don't know if he'd go for a barrel. Maybe there's just like a large flat piece of wood or something that he might know is hanging around in the hole somewhere that he can grab.
Well, there's not going to be something like that just floating about, but you could just take your armor up above the ship, ignoring barrels, and try to spot something floating in the refuse of the broken ship and jump on it.
There you go. Yeah, he's going to use his insight to find something that looks like it would bear the weight of his
really
armor.
Don't think insight is the situation here, buddy.
I'll compromise and go with
intimidation. Yeah, you're going to scare the armor into floating.
I was going to say medicine, but yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe intimidation makes more sense. Okay, what about instead then? Perception. It's not a trained skill. I'll maintain this argument for 10 more seconds, otherwise I'll just roll
please, yes,
acrobatics.
give it to me.
No, that's it. I mean, I think perception makes sense. We described he's at the top of the ship, he's looking down, he's holding his armor. Shit, do I have to leave the armor? Or can I make is there something I can do? He looks around, and he sees it. He remembers it from a movie he saw once from Titanic, that pieces of wood float, and he just makes a dive for it. He's going to have to be strong, because he's going to have to swim with the armor for a little bit to get to the wood. But once he gets there, he's going to put it on. So maybe I
will give you a perception to find the thing, followed by an athletics to get to the thing, or it's an acrobatics to like jump to something that's really far away.
I'm not sure on the mathematics. I'm going to go with the perception and the athletics, since that's what I argued myself into. So
excellent. I love it.
So there's the perception.
Oh,
which is
no. There's just nothing nearby.
And there's the athletics. So
yeah,
he jumps into the thing. He's swimming to it. Little does he know that this thing would never have supported the armor, but it doesn't matter because he has to drop it to save himself.
Yeah.
Before he gets to it anyway.
Oh, that's a bummer. All right.
Yeah.
So you'll be washing up on the shore with just your holy symbol, essentially. But your life...
No, what about my hammer? No? My shield?
Well, I think the armor encompasses all of the stuff. The shield is heavy as well. The hammer... Give me one more athletics check to see if you can swim in the storm with the hammer, but it's gonna be tough. Oh no, you gotta drop the hammer, man.
Standard.
Oh god. Okay. There we go.
It's the God's will.
Truly.
Classic.
Yep.
Okay. PotatoMcWhiskey. What does your character value above all else when the ship is going down?
So my character wouldn't really care for material possessions like his armor and his weapons. He will miss them, like in the immediately after. He's like, oh, why didn't I grab those bleeding things?
Yeah.
But are there horses on the ship?
Yeah.
His immediate thought is, I need to get, let me think of a name now. Scamp. I need to get Scamp.
Well, the horses are in the hold. Normally, in this situation, you would use like a crane with like a big belt to grab around the horse's midsection, like lift it out of the middle section of the boat, and then like haul it over and drop it off somewhere. But the ship is going down. There's no cranes nearby. So, unless you have an idea, I've got some stuff for you.
So I would look around and see, are there stairs that I could try and like barrel the horse up through?
It's too narrow of a corridor, and there's too many people going up and down the stairs. Unless you don't mind trampling them to death, but that might instantly break your paladin oaths.
No, I wouldn't want to endanger anyone. What I would, I'd be looking for any way to get the horse out. I'm trying to think now.
Right.
I'm looking around. What do I see?
Well,
do I see a way out?
The only way out is through that upper grating. So if you can break the grating or open the grating somehow, and then if you can, take control of the horse well enough to get it to swim, because horses can swim, you might be able to get a horse out through the grating as the ship goes down. But it will require you like being with the horse while the ship essentially goes down around the horse.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. So sell me on something to break open the hatch, the crate, the grating that would cover the spot to get the horse out.
I would inspect it initially, and I'd probably be looking around, and there's probably stuff all over the place, like hammers, hatches, things people have dropped, and I would just grab it and just start smashing as hard as I could, like desperately, like. I can jump off at any time, so I've only got like a minute or two to get this.
Well, why don't you just give me a strength saving throw then?
He took Nick's hammer, so that's why Nick couldn't have it.
A strength saving throw will absolutely do it. With that hammer, you blast open the locks that were holding that stuff together. And now I'm going to need an animal handling check to calm your horse enough that you can get it to safely navigate through the falling debris and sinking ships. You son of a bitch. All right, you've got the horse out. Now you're still at sea with the horse in a storm. You're going to need to stay near the horse the whole time. And I think that's just going to be a regular old athletics check just to make sure you can swim in the storm near the creature.
Yes, I believe. So what check do you need to make, sorry?
Athletics?
Okay. I'm so good. Oh,
that's the number you needed. You did it. You will start the campaign with a horse against all odds.
Holy
Well done.
shit.
Nick gets nothing. Taylor gets a
Oh my!
Hey, can you imagine how surprised our character's going to be? Washed up on the shore. No one of any power and worth survives, but somehow a horse survives an ocean shipwreck.
horse.
Have you guys-
Fine.
You know, have you seen The Ring? You know, the bit where they're on a ship and the horse just fucking jumps off the side of the boat into the ocean? It's like that, but it doesn't end in disaster. It just fucking swims to shore.
Okay.
My horse is my flotation device, man. They have huge lungs, so they float real easy.
Big brain.
All right. Last but not least, we've got Pokemon challenges, and this is going to be more complicated. I've saved you for last for a reason. In this age of the world, the age of heroes, a lot of arcane spellcasters are actually sorcerers. That's the more common route. Wizards are a newish school or thought of approach to magic, where you're not so much channeling raw magic that you have a connection to, as you are like refining and practicing and studying and finding that little tiny bit of access that you have to magic and figuring out how to unfold it. And so there's not as many wizards around. And in fact, the world is so new still. It's only a few, maybe 1,000 years since the Age of Mist, probably less even, that there's not like a great history of mages that goes back for millennia that you can draw from. And so wizard spell books are few and far between. Most spellcasters, most arcane spellcasters you're going to come across won't be wizards. They'll be sorcerers or something else. And so the spell books that you have, that the lead wizard on the expedition has, and what the assistant wizard to the expedition have, because I think you're like the second assistant, are probably the greatest treasures that you will ever find in our game. Additionally, your spell components are a really big deal. They come in the form of component pouches, which actually have individual materials, and your head wizard has an arcane focus. Actually, the assistant wizard also has an arcane focus. These are semi-magical, they're actually fully magical objects that allow you to cast your spells without needing most of the components most of the time. So you've got a whole lot of stuff that you need. Now, however, you're a wizard, so when the ship is going down, it's not your job to be like bailing things out. You've got 8 strength. It's not your job to be trying to like change the sails or to work some oars or something like that. Your job as a wizard during this point in time is just to stay out of the way. So you have a little bit more time than the rest of these people to gather these things up. Are you, generally speaking, is your approach going to be getting your own stuff? Or is your approach going to be, I'm going to save, the head wizard stuff for him or for yourself if you want to be greedy?
Neil, Roy is curled up in a corner in fetal position around his own book right now and just screaming, "Holy fuck, save me, please, fuck, save me, save me, save me, somebody save me." That's the only thing he's doing right now.
Excellent. Absolutely excellent. I think it's very reasonable then that you have your own book. But you're still going to need, as the ship obviously begins to sink, you're still going to need to be able to grab a couple of things nearby. Are you going to go for the safe bet of just grabbing your stuff where you know it is right away? Or are you going to take the risky bet of trying to find the really good stuff?
Nope. Roy is only saving his own shit and mostly his own body.
Excellent. Well then, I'm going to need you to make me an acrobatics check in order to grab your your component pouch.
1 second. Acrobatics, yeah.
Oh, nope, your component pouch is gone. And you are so concerned about saving yourself that you're not going to find it. On your way out of the boat, give me a insight check to see if maybe you can remember where somebody else put their component pouch on the way.
I do not see insight anywhere.
It's just below history.
Oh shit, you're right.
Yes. Yes, it's a very good roll. You are aware of where the assistant, the next assistant mage would keep their stuff, and it is on the way out, actually. So why don't you give me an athletics check to burst your way into what is the locked room or shut room where all of the special wizarding stuff is kept.
He's like, fuck, the wizarding shit,
Oh my god. Yes, you can burst open the door, and now, in the heat of the moment, I need you to make me an investigation check, because there are 3 chests here, and you don't remember what chest has what stuff. Unless you can pass an investigation check.
He's like, fuck, which one was it? Which one was the fucking thing? Which?
Yes. All right. The 3 chests. One of them contains the head mage's spellbook. One of them contains the head mage's arcane focus, and one of them contains the assistant mage's component pouch and spellbook. Which one would you like to go for?
What was the first one?
The head mage's spellbook, which is a rare and wondrous item that will have spells like, first, second, third, fourth level spells. This could be a huge use, and if you don't get this, finding new spells is going to be a tough thing to do. On the other hand,
that one.
Okay, that's going to be an investigation check to remember the combination to the lock, because you're his assistant. No. You have it.
Was it 4, 5, 6, 4, 5?
Yes. All right.
It was 6, 4, 5. Okay.
Nick failed his rolls for this.
Yes. How are we doing on rolls? Okay. You have time to go for either the arcane focus or the assistant's component pouch and spellbook.
The book.
All right. This one, you're going to need to pass a much better investigation check. On this one, it's going to need to be a 14 or higher, because time is short. The boat is sinking. The water is coming up.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God, please.
Nope, not enough time. All right. You can grab your book, the head mage's book, and you can get the hell out of there before the boat goes down.
That
clearly,
head mage's book is worth so much.
Yes. Right. Clearly, our whole party survives.
Can you give
the
us a
shipwreck.
quick, I guess, death of like the most epic party members on this boat that were like sent by the king himself? I guess I'm curious what happened to them.
Well, some of these people have nice armor that they do wear when they're walking about the ship. Leading the troops here, I wear my armor even when I'm at sea, because I'm the paladin of Verossi that's here to do this thing. But then the ship, gets caught in a storm, and a beam comes round, hits her in the head, and she just tumbles off the boat and drowns an ignominious death for such an epic paladin. Just wearing armor, hit in the head in a storm, blub, 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 to the bottom of the sea. The warrior that you were assigned to, and that was assigned to protect Pokemon Challenges' character, well, actually, he's not wearing his armor in these sorts of situations, but he dies in an attempt to save the younger people who are below decks. He goes down there, down not just to the main hold, but down to the lower decks, looking for people in a time of need. But as they try to make their way back up, having rescued some of the people who are trapped down below, the weight of gear that's being tossed around lands itself in the stairwell. The door gets caught, and he's got to try and push it out, but he can't. And so he tries to break out the sides, using a hatchet that he can find to rip open the side. He pushes people through, being the last one through himself, and yet holding your breath while swimming in a storm is still hard, and he drowns beneath the waves. Who else do we have? The sea captain goes down with his ship. He doesn't really think that there's much chance of survival in a storm like this, and he's right. It's a nasty storm, so he just does what he does best. He grabs some whiskey. He goes and sits in his quarters. Everything falls to pieces around him.
That's awesome. That's a good way to go.
Well,
sometimes you got to accept your fate. Who else do we have on this boat that is important?
The wizard.
Yes, the head wizard. He's out
Went
there.
for their spell book. It's gone.
No such luck. The head wizard is using whatever spells he has available to him in order to try and maybe stabilize the boat or stop the waves, or he's trying to use magic to change the situation before the ship even begins to break apart. But with the tossing of the ship, in the waves and the storm and the blowing of the wind and small things being tossed around, he mangles his spell and he ends up miscasting it. And in the process of miscasting it, a terrible thing happens. None of you are there to witness it, but you can hear the cries of him, and you can see like a bunch of distorted, twisted corpses that you would not happen with an ocean sort of encounter, but is the result of magic gone awry from being dramatically miscast in a time of horror.
Skill issue.
Yeah, skill issue.
Should have cast it better.
Yeah.
What level were these people? Can you say, or is that guesstimate? So we're in the Age of Heroes.
We're in the Age of Heroes. Good King Arnold is like I want to say he's like a somewhere between 12th and 14th level cleric.
Okay.
The Paladin of Veracity is probably somewhere in that like 9 to 11th level area. The Head Wizard he's at least 7th level. I'm not sure exactly what the upper bounds on that is. I don't think he's 9th. I haven't made a spell book yet.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. Excellent.
Very nice.
Well, is there anything left that we need to do with our characters?
Jan's
Yes.
domain, right?
Didn't he say evocation?
Oh,
Yeah.
did he? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
I'm stupid. Sorry.
I am missing my paladin fighting style. I think that's
Oh.
the only thing I'm missing. You get that at level 2.
Yes.
It's not in the Roll20 feats, but I would like to take interception because my vision for the character is he was trained to be a king's guard or like a guard for important people. That was his job, which is why the Oath of Kings is kind of appealing to me. So I'd like to take interception, which allows me to, if I'm standing within 5 feet of somebody who gets attacked, I can use my reaction to reduce the damage by 1d10 plus my proficiency.
It's in Tasha's book, I think.
Right. doesn't-
Yes.
Carrying a weapon allows you to intercept, reducing damage rather than forcing disadvantage. You have to be adjacent to somebody to use it.
Yes.
Trying to find the
And
exact text on it. You said it's in Tasha's?
I can
Yeah,
give
I think
you
it's in
a
Tasha's.
screenshot.
Oh yes, please. I would love that.
I took Great Weapon Fighting,
There, I posted it into the Discord group.
Lovely.
which is fun.
Yeah, great weapon fighting's great. Okay. Must be wielding a shield or a simple or martial weapon to use this. And that is as opposed to the protection fighting style. When a creature that you see attacks target other than you that is within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the attack roll. Oh, interception is really strong.
It's really strong at low levels, especially.
Well,
but
it reduces damage by 7.5 at first level, which is super strong.
Would it be more interesting, instead of reducing damage, to redirect the damage to him at that reduced amount? Or is that less interesting to you?
No, I think interception is a little bit too great.
could we make the dice weaker as a compromise? Maybe.
Yes.
Like.
Yes, we can. Because a D10 plus proficiency modifier averages to 5.5 plus 2, which is 7.5, which is more than most monsters do in their attacks to begin with.
D6, D8?
If we do D6, then it's a 5.5 average, which is still pretty good. That'll block most damage. Maybe we can do like a...
You could make it to where it's D6 and it scales a little as you level on top of proficiency. Like at level 10, it's D8. Level 20, it's D10. Or something. To that effect.
Yeah. Let me just take a look at the scaling of proficiency bonuses real quick here, because it might be Like every time your proficiency bonus goes up by 1, your die roll goes up by 1. So from like D6 to D8 to D10 to D12.
Ooh, I like
kinda
that. That sounds fun.
So at level 5, it would go from D6 to D8. At level 9, it would go from D8 to D10.
Well, if we're going to upgrade it, maybe start at a 1d4, and every proficiency up, it goes up a dice.
Hmm. Six, 8. I think we could make it a little stronger than that, because then by the time you hit like level 17, it's kind of useless. But
Right.
if we do, let's start at 6, a flat D6, and then it'll go up to a D8. Even D10? D10 would be 5 damage at 5th level, 5.5 damage. Let's do yeah, let's just do, I don't think we're going to get to level 16, so let's do D6, D8, D10, D12. So every proficiency bonus, it just goes up. Yeah?
Very
All right,
nice.
perfect.
Great.
Thank you for that compromise. I appreciate it.
Thank you for willing
A
to
little
be
wheeling and dealing.
willing to compromise. Yeah. Okay. Anything else about our characters that we need to set out? Let's take a
Do I
look
need to
here.
pick like spells?
Yes, you do need to pick spells, and you're the one with a lot of spell picking to be doing. I'm going to give you a... I've already added a couple spells to your character sheet that you have to know to start off your character.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a link. Do not share this link, please. Keep this one to yourself.
Yes.
There we go. So this is the list of all the acceptable 5e spells as they are right now. You're going to be starting with Detect Magic, and what else did I start you with? Unseen Servant. You can pick 8 more first level spells from this list. You don't have to pick them
Shit.
at this moment right now. We've got
Yes.
until the next session to start. But you should pick 8 more first level spells.
First level ones are the ones with the 1 in the top left corner, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Wizards get cantrips as well.
Yes, wizards get cantrips. That is a other great feature. At the very, very bottom of the list, you'll see something that has a star, and that is your cantrip. And you will get 3 of those. You can just pick whichever 3 you want.
Okay.
Except for Toll the Dead. We're not doing Toll the Dead.
Okay. So wait, how many level 1 spells again? Was it 8?
8 more. Mm-hmm.
8
And-
level 1, 3 cantrips.
Yeah, I'll put it in roll 20 for us.
I get 3 cantrips as well now. I think I know the ones I want. One of them is from a different book, so I just want to run it past you.
Please.
Word of Radiance.
That's a
Not sure.
cantrip that you're looking for?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. You got a link to it?
I can get one. It kind of links into what I'm trying to do with the character, so hopefully it works. Hang on, let me give you a link.
Each creature that you can see within 5 feet
5
of you.
feet.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So
it's-
each adjacent creature makes a con save or takes D6 radiant damage.
Yeah. So I've got the other one I want to. It's decent, you know. It's not like Sacred Flame
I'm
is
saying
like
it's not overpowered, yeah.
no, yeah. Sacred Flame is 1 target, but that's D8. This is everyone adjacent, but it's D6.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to take Sacred Flame and Word of Radiance, and then Thaumaturgy.
Thaumaturgy's a fun spell.
Yeah. We can make like a crack of thunder, or make my voice booming, which I think is going to fit nicely.
Yeah, wizards get Thunderclap, which is essentially the same thing. You create a burst of thunderous sound that can be heard up to 100 feet away. Each creature within 5 feet of you, other than you, needs to make a con save or take d6 damage. This is each creature of your choice within 5 feet of you makes a con save or takes d6. So it's a little bit stronger than the wizard AoE damage spell.
Yeah, but Firebolt's better than Sacred Flame.
Yeah, and you have, what, 8 dex?
Yeah. Don't know what that's got to do with it, but...
Well, you've got low AC, so you wading into a sea of enemies to AoE
I mean,
them
that
down.
is what I'm going to be doing. I mean, you've given me
Yeah.
Armor of Agathis, which gives me temporary HP, and I can do damage in 2 ways to people that attack me. I've also one of my domain spells is Thunder Wave, which is like AoE around you. So I am probably going to play him like a, wear heavy armor, go into the fight, do sort of AoE damage around him.
Okay,
Take hits and do damage back.
Can we? Yeah, fuck it, it's fine. Let's do it. Why not? Let's roll with it.
There we go. I
Yeah.
can't work out how to add them to my spell list. Could you do that for me?
I will
Or
do
tell
my
me how it works.
best. Greens
Is it
are
the same as the other one, or is this one different?
It's different. I think you can drag them in from Roll20 somehow, but I just can never get it to work.
I could never get it to work.
There you go.
either.
So in the compendium area, that little circle with
Yeah.
an eye, if you type in a spell name, you should just be able to drag and drop the spell onto your character sheet when you're like on the spells tab of your character sheet.
I've been trying. It won't let me either.
Yeah,
Really?
where do you drag it to?
I just dragged it
You just like drag it in. but
literally
I don't know.
anywhere on the page.
Do you have to have it in non-pop out, the character sheet, maybe?
Yeah, if your
Maybe.
character sheet's popped out, like
My
as
character
a
sheets
separate
only pop
window.
out. For some
Yeah.
reason, it won't open it. It won't open the character sheet unless I pop it out.
Same for me at the moment. It's not usually like that, but
It's
works
never
for me.
been like that. Yeah.
That's
Really?
weird. That's why
You
you're
have to do
having
it for me.
problems.
it's okay.
Yeah. If you give me a list of spells, I will drag them onto your character sheets for you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Mine has to pop out. Weird.
Cool. Well then, I
Okay.
do believe that is pretty much it for our character creation stream. We will be back next week with
Yeah, we're
our
gonna-
first session.
Be back on the 22nd at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 15:30 for the military people. We're gonna go live after this on the Patreon for a little Patreon 30-minute after the episode kind of show. We're gonna be going over patron questions, maybe talking about our characters a little bit more and stuff like that. That is Patreon only, so the Patreon's above. It's gonna be patreon.com/saveordie at the Goblin tier. This is gonna be a weekly thing at the end of the episode. We go live for 30 minutes on the Patreon to, give our supporters something else. Thanks.
It also goes live as a video on Patreon afterwards, right?
Yeah, it'll be as a video. Yep, it'll be like a video.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
That's it, everybody. Catch you next week.
See you then.
Thanks
Bye.
for watching.
Thank you.